Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
According to the legend of the seven full moons, Lorelei will turn into a hideous animal. She must eat human hearts in order to return to her eternal sleep. Or something of that nature.
Always after me, Lucky Charms.
Green
This
hearts.
is episode 235, recorded on February 12th, 2025.
Gruesome Magazine.
I thought he was just blind, not Irish.
Yeah.
You never seen the Blind Irish trilogy?
Oh, yeah. I know how they got blind.
I am your host, Doc Rotten. No, I'm not. I am your host, Jeff Mohr. And this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-hosts, Chad Hunt and Bill Mulligan, and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. Doc Rotten is not with us this week. He's cruising, having a good time. So
Not the 70s version of cruising, but
No, well,
upon the seven seas cruising.
it's a song. It's a
Yeah,
song.
we don't know Doc's personal life. We shouldn't assume.
Yep.
Joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, all around nice guy, and published author.
Always keep it handy. Raum,
And that's
R-A-U-M.
spelled, yeah.
Space Knight.
R-A-U-M. Yeah. Space, right? Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry.
Good one.
How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing fine. It's cold and rainy. It's been 35 in the day, and then at night it gets down to 35. It's just not moving, and just a little bit lower would be snow, but no, it's just the coldest rain ever.
It's actually cold for here, but rainy. We got like 3 days of rain here.
Miserable.
At any rate, also joining us is Chad Hunt, co-host of Decades of Horror, the all of them, comic book artist and writer. Chad, how are you?
Tell you how I'm doing. I'm keeping all my sody pops out on the front stoop to get cold tonight.
Yeah. Sody pops.
Put them in your car so if they blow up, you'll keep it all inside. Anyway, all right. Also joining us.
I'm not of that way of thinking.
His guest host, Jerry Chandler. Jerry is a frequent contributor to comments on Decades of Horror. A very well-known person in conventions in the Virginia and North Carolina area, and very knowledgeable, and a bit of a fanatic about the Blind Dead series.
And a cool dude.
Yeah, Jerry, how you doing?
Dude.
I'm doing fine. We do have ice coming down outside, so
Do you
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a little farther north.
Drive careful.
Okay.
and I do have my iced tea out in the car waiting for me for tomorrow morning when I drive into work.
Sweet.
It'll be nice and cold.
Mm-hmm.
Taking advantage of the resources.
Mm-hmm.
So Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Play Now Media, as everybody should know by now if you listen to this podcast. And in fact, Decades of Horror of the 1970s is on the Wicked Horror TV channel. And they got a lot of nice movies there. And we have a discount code that you can use for your first payment. The code is DOH70. That's DOH, all caps, 70. And you will get 20% off your first payment. So if you sign up for the monthly plan, which is $6.99 a month, you'll get $1.40 off that first month. But if you sign up for the annual plan, which is $49.99, already discounted, you get another 20% off that, which will drop you down to $40, $39.99.1, I think, something like that. Anyway, it's a pretty good deal, and they have some interesting stuff in there, and they are rotating it, and they're always improving, and the apps are pretty nice now. So, hey, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there too.
Got cool stuff and us.
Don't let that deter you.
Yeah,
They still have cool movies on there.
So on Decades of Horror, the 1970s, we start off with a few details about the movie, move into first impressions, taglines, and then start talking about the movie, whatever comes up. Our topic today is the Loreley's grasp.
Oh,
Released in 1973, written and directed by Amando de Ossorio. The cast includes Tony Kendall, Helga Linné, Sylvia Tortosa, Josefina Jardin, Loretta Tovar, Jose Fellman, Francisco Nieto, and Betsabe Ruiz. Production company CC Astro, Profilmas, filming locations in Madrid and Madrid. I'm sorry. There's a town in Iowa like 5 miles from me that's spelled the same way that's called Madrid. And like around the corner and down the highway 10 miles is Nevada. It's not Nevada, it's Nevada. Anyway, in Madrid. And actually, Wikipedia says it was partially filmed on Rhine, but the guys on the commentary on the movie say, yeah, no, that didn't happen. The producers bought a documentary on the Rhine and then cut footage from that. So they were never actually in Germany, but it looks good. Release date, and this is another one. There's multiple release dates everywhere, but I'm going to use kind of the earliest ones in both cases. May 9th, 1973 in Spain, and November 15th, 1975 in the U.S. Domestic box office, in Spanish pesetas, it was a little over 12 million, which in 1973 was around $209,000, which was also listed as about 365,000 admissions.
so what? Admissions cost less than $1? Wow.
No, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 1973.
What? I'm confused.
Yeah, well,
No. Yeah. Maybe.
Exactly. And the synopsis. The legendary Lorelei has been living in a grotto beneath the Rhine River in Germany for centuries. Every night, when the moon is full, she turns into a reptile-like creature craving human blood. When she kills one girl after another from a nearby boarding school, a hunter named Sigurd is engaged to kill the monster. And actually, she's not craving blood. She's craving human hearts.
which are full of blood, so
Yeah. And these two lovely ladies, there's a third one, but she's kind of shadowed out behind the print, are I don't know who they are.
but they're cute as buttons, and look at
they are. And I had to put that picture up just because of the swimsuits and the skull decorations.
Yeah, it's so cute.
You have to undo the skull, I guess.
Yeah.
And
there's a trick to it.
They're an odd color. I mean, the makeup on their skin or their face, that just is weird.
Pale.
The skin on their body looked almost kind of greenish olive tan kind of, and then the faces are pale.
Probably their natural skin tone, but the faces look pasty.
Yeah, they look great. I said before,
they look great.
I think they wandered in from Night of the Sorcerers. Oh,
that could be.
If I just turned the movie on in that sequence when they're in the grotto, I'd be like, oh, this is a De Ossorio movie. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's it. So this was my pick. So first impressions, I will go first. And we've talked about De Ossorio several times with his Blind Dead tetralogy, and somewhere along the line we were talking about this, and I swear somebody said, "Oh, the Loreley's Grass would be a good one." So it is available in a double feature, sort of, so to speak, Blu-ray from Scream Factory with The Night of the Sorcerer. So I've had that sitting on my shelf for a while, waiting for just the right time. And I decided this was it. And luckily, Jerry was available too. So anyway, I'll tell you what, this is like a lot of movies. I mean, God dang. So the entire movie is dubbed. It don't matter what language you listen to it in. They didn't record sound with it. So even the Spanish or Catalan is dubbed, and then the English is dubbed, and the dubbing does not match the subtitles, I don't believe. But I listened to it in the on dubbing with the English subtitles, and I didn't have any problem with that. But I enjoyed it. I mean, there's some nasty stuff in here. I mean, we're ripping hearts out, and we see them. We even puncture one with a claw and lift it out. It's just you can tell it's special effects. You know, it doesn't look entirely real, but it's still pretty darn cool. And the monster's not that bad, and I think it's kind of well edited and well lit in such a way to take full advantage of how detailed the design is. The lead guy is just the hunter, Sigurd. I don't know if it's Sigurd or Sigurd. I thought written both ways, but he doesn't
drove
look
the
anything.
bus for the Partridge Family.
Yeah, he doesn't look anything like a hunter. He wears these two-piece. I don't know if they're leisure suits or what, but matching. First it's all white, then it's all sort of burnt orange.
Oh, yeah, it's the 70s. His fashion game was on point.
Yeah, what do you
but
wear when you go
the
hunting?
acting is decent, and I don't know. I like the story. The Lorelei is rather fetching. I'll just stop rambling.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. Okay, I did. I really did. And I'm going to ask our guest next, Jerry. What do you think of this movie?
I've always loved it. I've since the first time I saw it, I really liked it. In one of those kind of nitpick splitting hair things, it falls to me under the umbrella of horror, but I tend to think of this one, other than a few more gruesome scenes, I tend to think this one less horror and more dark fairy tale. And it works that way with that leisurely pace, because the movie, for a lot of the movie, it's got that very leisurely, slow pace, and it throws all of these different little details out that are all a little mythology and a little borrowed mythology concepts. And you get fed a little bit of this, and you meet some odd characters, and your lead character unquestioningly goes along with some people that he should not have been stupid enough to go along with, and manages to not get killed. And then, goes through to the end. But no, the whole thing top to bottom, I've always really enjoyed this one, because like I said, it's got it's almost a gothic dark fairy tale without the gothic part, maybe.
It has a gothic feel, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I like dark. Why do I free? I don't understand. I didn't do a dang thing.
Because you're so cool, Bill.
It's 32 degrees. That's why.
It is cold. I said it was cold outside, and here's the proof.
All right. Well, we'll hear from. Are you done, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll hear from Chad next while Bill.
I'll sign off and sign.
Well,
right back on.
at least it caught Bill in a very studious look.
I'm looking at my notes. Yeah. Right back.
Raised his
Chad,
IQ.
have you seen this before?
No, I had not, and I've never even heard of this one before. So imagine my surprise when I watched it and liked it. It was very. It didn't follow along with your typical horror movie structure, I guess you'd say. She revealed herself pretty early on, that he caught her, and he's like, she says, "My name's Lorelei," and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you've killed those women? Yeah, so what? Hey, come on and join me. Come on, let's party. And he did, or he fell in love with her or whatever. So it did. I agree with Jerry. It did have that kind of fairy tale type of a narrative to it. But it did seem gothic at the same time, and I think the lack of gothic sets was the only thing keeping that at bay. But I really enjoyed it. I did like the monster, the hooded monster. And it was shadowed just right, where you didn't really get to see how cheesy it looked. But it did move. It moved fast, and it was some grisly murder scenes. The way it would eat the heart out, and it was the same. Looked like the same effects shot for every murder, where you just see the rib cage and the heart's there, and she takes her little escargot fork and plucks it in, plucks the heart out. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. The girls in the cave, I liked. If they weren't giggling, they were wrestling.
Yeah.
So who could ask for more, for 70s girls in bikinis? So, yeah, I like this one.
Lots of girls in bikinis in this movie.
Yeah, and they were all giggling. That was if I had a complaint about it, it was too much giggling going on from grown women.
All right,
you kept having to answer questions to your wife in the other room. What are you watching?
What are you watching?
No, it's just a horror movie, honey. Really?
Lorelei. Sounds like porno again.
Again.
Okay. Yeah, again. Yeah. Bill Mulligan. You hadn't seen this before? No.
I hadn't. No. When you said last week, Lorelei's grass, for some reason, I'm old. That's the reason. I immediately thought you were saying the Death's Head Virgin. I got the two movies mixed up in my head, and I'm trying to be enthusiastic about it. I'm like, oh yeah, interesting. It has a good ending. And that's about the only thing that I remember. So I was wrong. This one does have a good ending though, but way better than Death's Head Virgin. Good poster. That's about it for that one. Well, listen, this has got everything I love. It's got a girls' school where apparently the application is you send a headshot. And if you're not in, top 5% of good-looking women, you don't get in. So every single one of them, each more gorgeous than the one before it. So you got that. You got the handsome leading man that all the girls are falling over. And why shouldn't they? He's so much better looking than all the other guys in town who are really, low tier here. We've got the blind violinist who knows things. He ain't going to live to the end of the movie. You know that. You've got the scientist. We've done a lot of movies where there's some scientific claptrap being spoken, but it has never been this claptrappy before.
It's usually sentimental traps, claptrap.
This guy just starts opening his mouth and it's like, the legend of the Lorelei. And then he talks about all this scientific stuff that he's done with this legend, apparently peer reviewed. And he's just throwing out terms. Radiation. Sure. Why not use it for anything? It makes Spider-Man. It kills Lorelei's. Why wouldn't it?
It was peer reviewed.
We've
two
got,
two of them sat on the pier with steins of beer reviewing their steins
of beer. We got, we've got and then the scene, when we get to the grotto, I'm like, this is like one of those men's magazines from like the 50s and 60s, trapped by Amazon women, Amazon pirate women, weasels rip my flesh, surrounded by snapping turtles, one incredibly slow man's adventure. Yeah, this is like, wow. So there's a thing underneath it. People don't make any sense. He meets the Lorelei. Oh, who's gorgeous. Of course she is. She immediately falls in love with him. And then she passes out. And this guy shows up out of nowhere and says, she must go now. Picks her up, carries her away. The guy doesn't even think to, it's got that dream logic, it's like Jerry said, kind of a dark fairy tale with some crazy dream-like logic. People say things that don't make any sense. This guy's supposed to be a hunter. As soon as they hire him, more women get killed. He's an utter failure at this. The only time he actually shows it, he's about to shoot one of the girls. Oh, stop or I'll shoot. Wait a minute. You were hired to protect women. You don't go shooting a woman just because she's running away from you. That's just, but so if you examine
he was willing to, though, at least.
Yeah. If you examine it from any logical point of view, it completely falls apart. Silly. And we haven't even mentioned the monster because the monster's terrible, but at least they have the good sense to keep him in the dark. If you can't come up with a good monster costume,
her.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yes, her. At least keep her in the dark and, put a bag over her head or something. All we see is the grasping claw. That's okay. But the monster itself is pretty wretched. The special effects are gory. This thing was rated X when it came out. Percolate on that for a second, that somebody saw this and said, X rated. This is like hardcore porn or something. Like, I don't even understand that. Or am I just jaded? Because we do see hearts get ripped out. And there was a time, I suppose, when I was a child that would have been pretty traumatic, but I'm looking at it now and I'm just thinking, the heart's already pre-cut, it's clearly like a heart you could buy at a store around Halloween.
I Oh,
Yeah.
they are being critical again.
I love this movie. All these things, none of this matters. It's fun. And De Ossorio, I just feel like here's a guy who, if he, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but here's a guy who I feel like if he had a budget, if he'd gotten work in Hollywood, if he'd been given the kind of budgets he deserved, how he would have knocked it out of the park, because his movies are pretty low budget. The Evil Dead movies are really low budget, but this guy clearly has more on his mind. And when we finally get to do Night of the Seagulls, a pretty good Lovecraftian thing with some Blind Dead tossed in there so he could sell it. His reach exceeded not his grasp but his budget, and I admire that.
Great ideas.
Yeah, great ideas. Just never had the resources to really pull it off. But I'm glad he gave us what he did, and this was a lot of fun. So I'm glad glad you guys gave me the incentive to finally actually watch it all the way through.
I was legit amazed when you said you've never seen it before.
There's so many.
For some reason, I thought you would. Well, maybe you mixed it up with the other film before. Because sure you had said you had watched it before.
It sounds like a movie Bill has watched.
It does seem like a movie, but I thought I had, but I hadn't. And the part of the problem is everything I watch now, I watch with Shauna. And Shauna, as she walks in the door, I was just about to say, extremely patient, puts up with a lot of crap that you guys make me watch with her and everything. But I try to. I'm not going to do this just on a whim. When you guys, we got to watch this movie. It's like, hey, Hannah, I got to watch this film. She's like, all righty. Hope it's better than the last one.
You could do like I do and just watch the wrong movie, and you could just sit there and smile at the camera the whole podcast.
Oh yeah, that happened. That's a thing that happened. That was my favorite part too.
Yeah,
but no, this is good. This was worth watching. Definitely.
Well, this is another one of those ones that has lots of titles, and. I just excuse my pronunciation right off the bat, but the Spanish title was Las Garras de Lorelei, which translated in Google to Lorelei's Claws, the original title. In Germany, it was the Lorelei's Grasp, Die Beste Mädchen Pensionat, the Beast in the Girls' Boarding School.
Perfect.
So we have to describe exactly what it is. In Italy, La Abbraccio Mortale di Lorelei, Lorelei's Deadly Embrace. And in the U.S., of course, we had to go completely off the rails, When the Screaming Stops. Or, better yet, The Swinging Monster.
That's the porn version.
I tried so hard to find a poster for The Swinging Monster, I couldn't find one.
That was when it was X-rated, yeah.
So I didn't know about the one title, but considering this is the 70s and they were pumping these things out into low budget theaters, like The Monster in the Girls' Boarding School, that would have been like the perfect US title. I don't know why.
It's a great drive-in title, right?
Yeah.
And then
Werewolf in a Girls' Dormitory was an actual movie, so yeah. Why not?
There's so many subcategories here. On the English video box, in Japan, the title was The Underwater City. Population 4, I guess. At any rate.
It was the underwater rent-controlled apartment, hardly a city.
Yeah. So we'll run into some of that here. But now it's time for Taglines with Chad.
There's probably only one or two.
As played by Chad, his own self.
Oh my God. There's not only one or two. Okay.
Yep.
Taglines for the Lorelei's Grass Bar. You'll never sleep alone again. I don't know. That might get a lot of guys to come watch.
Yeah.
Actually,
that would be good with The Swinging Monster.
Yeah. You survived Halloween. You made it through the night of the living dead. You've come a long way. What are you ready for when the screaming stops? That's my house 24/7 anyway. I don't get it. You made it through the night of the living dead. You survived the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You've come a long way once again. What are you ready for when the screaming stops?
It's never a great sign when they mention other movies.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder that who went, okay, what we really need to do is move Night of the Living Dead first and then change Halloween to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
That'll make the difference.
Right. That'll prepare them from what they're about to see.
See our hero get killed by a gaggle of gorgeous, giggling women.
Oh, now you're just making it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not bad though.
I figured if you could do it, I could do it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, these are real. These are real.
After a silence of many centuries, it will return to feed once more. The Loreley's grasp. You'll eat your own heart out. From the director of the Riding Corpses films.
That was
nothing.
That
was a German tagline. That was a German tagline.
I think they meant Return from Planet Ape.
Battle for the Planet Ape. Notice, this is the uncut, uncensored version, originally given an X rating by the MPAA for violence. As a warning to the audience, a signal will appear 3 seconds prior to each bizarre and graphic scene. There will be no refunds. See, that doesn't sound like a tagline at all. That sounds like a pissed off theater owner coming out 5 minutes before the movie starts.
No, that was on the ad, and that was actually a thing they did with the when the screaming stops. Which I guess, but it must be like that'd be a great double feature with, and now the screaming starts.
And then the screaming stops. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Warning! Because of the intense nature of this film, bubble guts may occur. Vomit bag and diarrhea bag for use when viewing. Do not reuse. When the screaming stops.
So this was another one that broke out the old vomit bag gimmick.
Yeah. So the one before, they actually did do a thing where they flashed, the screen went red, and you got a signal for 3 seconds before a bizarre and graphic scene.
I'd love to see the vomit bag from this movie. If it had a...
Oh, I think I have a picture of it.
You do, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate it when they do this thing, especially if it was never intended, where they come up with some gimmick. Oh, the warning bell will signal when something exciting is about to happen. It's like, imagine being a creator, being an artist. Okay, sure, you're making schlock, but damn it, you're an artist. And then they come and they just ruin your film. It's like, I built up this sequence with suspense and there's a big scare at the end. And then all of a sudden, warning, something scary is about to happen. It's like, oh.
My vision.
That's the way it goes. Yeah. So we need to look at some posters here first, I believe.
I just can't believe that they used those gimmicks for this movie.
Yeah.
To hype up the audience with like vomit bags and basically we're going to give you a fear break. And compared to other early 70s horror, it's kind of like, that's the nice little relaxing break in between the other two films.
Yeah.
Well, look at this crap poster on the bottom, which is actually not a bad poster, but not for this movie. That's a slasher movie. And I guess by the time it came out, they were thinking, monsters. Nobody wants to see monsters.
And that's not even the radioactive dagger.
No, it's just a plain old regular steak knife.
A piece of cutlery. Okay.
At least have a monster hand holding it.
I kind of like the top one. Not for no reason, really, but I kind of like it.
Just looks like
well, it actually looks like the movie.
Right.
Well, yeah, it does.
Although it implies a much bigger monster, but okay, whatever.
As always.
Yeah.
And another one.
Yeah. I see where they were going with this. Yeah.
She's kind of.
Yeah, she's
right. They didn't.
It's like vertical slashing, like in Psycho, but not
done well.
And there's the hand reaching in.
Yeah.
All righty.
Although I actually do kind of like. I mean, it's not done well, but I like the offsetting the image.
Yes, I like that too.
Like that.
I think it needs to be a little bit more. Like the first two slashes don't even look like they're offset. It's the third one. I don't know. They didn't have Photoshop back then. They had to do the best they could with X-Acto knives and double-sided tape.
So here's the aforementioned marketing gimmick.
Look at that. Because of the intense nature of the stomach distress may occur.
I like the font on distress. The
Yeah,
S's are wiggly for some reason.
They look Nazi.
Hey, wait! I think I saw a ghost behind you there.
Jerry, behind you, quick!
Yes, that's just the dog needing to go out.
No.
That's been like ramming me in the knees for the last 6 minutes.
And the bottom shot is I couldn't figure this thing out because, frankly,
We know what was going on.
the girls' school students look the same age as the teacher.
Yes.
Yeah,
a little
no
older.
kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I just came in to give her a bath.
Surprisingly, it's not as sleazy as you would expect, given the premise of a beautiful boarding
There's
school
really
for girl.
There's only the
Boarding school
one. I think it's the first kill where there's actually
yes, there is
bare
some
breast
nudity.
or bare nipples that
Right.
from the slash, and then
And
the
you'll be
next then
thinking,
the following one where he rips her breast apart, which is obviously floppy rubber hollowed out or something, because apparently inside your body it's just hollow with the heart sitting in there.
Yeah, we're like chocolate bunnies on the inside.
yeah.
That's right, exactly right. But it was cool. It was still cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's the one part about this. It's not a complaint for me with the tone of the movie, but I've always kind of found that interesting because when you look at some of his other films from that era, a little before and a little after, he's never been shy about putting a screen full of naked woman in there at least a couple of times a movie, and even a couple of little sapphic scenes here and there, and a couple of them. And in this one, it's like, oh, it's in a girls' school, and all of the girls look older than the cast of 90210, and there's all like the natural opportunity that all of the exploitation directors craved and used in that era. And it's kind of like, I'm going to make this one of my most chaste films visually as far as the female form.
Yeah. And of course, we don't know, this was filmed in Spain when Generalissimo Francisco Franco was not still dead. So there, I can imagine in a situation like that, there might be times when the edict comes down, no more nudity, and you have to toe the line, and so
more giggling.
That's just what I was thinking, Chad.
Nudity.
I think the giggling was to help you think they were younger.
Yeah. Well, I think so too. But you get girls, water, and suds all in the same mix. There's going to be giggling.
They were kind of weird. There was a little bit of implied shenanigans. Like, don't let the teacher know I'm in here helping you with your bath. Yeah. Oh, well, it was after curfew. That was the deal.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what the problem was.
It's got a weird Suspiria vibe in that way, and not in any of the grand ways. It's just that whole thing of where, like, it was supposed to be a girl's,
right,
but he couldn't do that, so he had all of these older actresses, but they never changed the script.
Right, let's not change the script. It was written for 12-year-olds, and you should play it that way.
And this one almost feels that way. Which if it was like a bunch of 14 and 15-year-old girls, looking at the hot hunter bodyguard guy, that would still work, and all the other aspects would work, and him at least kind of humoring them with hi, how you doing, but then their interactions with each other and the giggling and how they do certain other things, it's like they're adult and it feels weird.
But as we've already pointed out, they did not get into this prestigious school on the basis of their ACT scores. I mean, they were just really hot.
There is, though. You're right. It's kind of, but they managed to work two scenes where every girl in the scene is in a bikini. And then you have the whatever you call them, the Rhine maidens or the wrestling girls in the cave. They've got like the equivalent of a bikini on. The Lorelei wears like a weed bikini. I don't know what that is supposed to be, but that's interesting design.
Relax, man.
I was excited. Yeah. All right.
I don't know, for 70s Spain though, those were like some pretty heavy covering bikinis.
Yeah, pretty tame.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right.
Well, the redhead looks pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Here's the man. Look at this guy. Look at this is a hell of a collection of stuff there. Okay. Hydra, otherwise known as the sea serpent. Whoosh. Again, this is one of
That's
those
what you should do for Bill's birthday. The
Oh,
sea serpent.
sea serpent. It's so terrible. You feel I've never felt so bad for Ray Milland. Even the day he died, I didn't feel as bad as I did watching that movie and seeing him in it. And you look at that poster, and usually they try to make the monster look better on the poster. They pretty much nailed it. That movie's terrible, terrible. They did not have the budget to pull it off. And again, this is the thing with this guy. He's like, I want to make a movie about a giant monster, and I don't have 3 quarters to rub together, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You take off your socks.
But hell, we got 4 amazing Blind Dead things. That alone would be enough to seal his reputation. We did Demon Witch Child?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that was an odd little one. And
It is.
We will get to Night of the Sorcerers, or we're up there.
And what's the one on
No
the bottom
shame.
left?
Yeah.
Night of the
that's
Seagulls?
one of the. That's Night of Seagulls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another name for Night of the Seagulls. Okay, sorry.
And then Malenka has, I think that was one of the ones they may have retitled in America to like Fangs of the Living Dead or
Yes,
or Cave of
yes.
the Living Dead, something like that.
I might have that.
Yeah, it's in like every 50 movies for $1.
Right. Yes.
That
Must have
came out
fallen in the
15
public
years
domain.
ago in DVD.
But this guy was cool. He did some good stuff.
He did some couple of spaghetti westerns in the 60s before he got into horror, when that was a thing
Yep.
in Europe. Although I don't know if they're Spanish or they spaghetti westerns. All right, let's move on to our star, Helga Linné.
Rower.
And I love that picture on the top. That was something about the framing and the rich
frame,
red and all that
yeah, and the paleness of her skin against that. I mean, that was a very cool, very Euro look, Euro horror.
I liked her in this
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, she was cool. She had that otherworldly quality. You can
Mhm.
see she's not of this world, but
She didn't giggle.
No, she was not a giggler, not at all. She was very earnest about it.
yeah. I mean, she's not a good person, but you feel like, who are we to judge? I mean, she's not of this earth. She's not like us. So, and I've always I love the theme of humans and monsters falling in love, and it never ends well. And nor did it in this one. There's only 2 possible endings. He destroys her, she destroys him, or they destroy each other.
They destroy each other. Yeah. So I like the negative too. There on the bottom picture. That was kind of cool.
Such a simple thing to do, but it was a great way to end it. It was,
Mhm.
yeah.
Great, but weird.
Mhm.
Very weird.
Yeah.
And
And
that
there's
one
the-
line, I don't know about the version that Jeff listened to, how they did it in that language track, but in the English language track, it's just she keeps saying the same thing over and over again for like 2 minutes.
What was that?
That
Which
like,
is-
I'll wait for you or whatever. It
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I'll
be
see you in
together again. I'll
Valhalla.
wait. Yeah.
Like Valhalla, where'd that come from? Okay. Oh, I guess it's German.
Yeah.
Okay.
I when you were saying the thing about the top, I love the top. Sorry, hit my mic.
Go.
I love the top framing, and that was one of the things a bunch of times in this movie when you start to notice it when you watch it more. When you first meet someone in this movie, or they get that one moment, you get these like still shots for half a second that look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it looks like if that was in oil, it would be like a fantastic painting.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And he is his background. One of the things he was an artist. He painted, and
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, and he put that kind of aesthetic into a lot of his films in this era. And you get these just wonderful shots. You take any of them. And like I said, just turn them into an oil painting, and they
They're
would
well composed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that top shot too gave me that. It's what gave me the Gothic feel at first. The horse and buggy or the horse and carriage type thing. It always reminds me of Gothic Hammer films and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I've noticed that a lot too. A lot of the shots were composed very well. They were put together well. Where there's a lot more chaos going on in a lot of other films like this. But these were, when they did decide to settle on certain shots, they were prolonged a little. They were not a quick shot here and back and forth. He stayed on those shots, it seemed like, for I guess long enough to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got that practiced artist's eye as well, more so than the rest of us. So that's one of those things. It's kind of like interested in your take on it.
It's cool to see too. You know, this is supposedly taking place in modern times, although it's got that European feel where it's hard to really tell if it's contemporary or not. I guess it is, but she doesn't feel that way. She really does feel like she stepped out of a Hammer film into this little village. And since she's supposed to be thousands of years old, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I really liked her. I really liked her in this film.
And I like that aspect. It's almost some people do it right, similar with the vampire, and some of them don't. But she's got that kind of that like aged immortal vampire attitude. Like even like the way she just kind of blew off. Oh yes, I've killed some people. Okay, yes, but you're killing them now. It's yes, I know. Okay, move on. It's like she's gotten to the point where it's like, all of these people come and go in a fraction of her lifetime. And
right.
She's looking at us like bugs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I stepped on that ant. It's no big deal.
Yeah. You can't live thousands of years regretting every egg you crack to make an omelet. I mean,
and a lot of the other characters like that, though, they either do it in a way where it's like, it's the torn, sorrowful, I remember being a human and I'm doing this, or they're like just malicious.
Yeah.
And there's something really kind of interesting about the way they played it with her, where it's just kind of like,
she's aloof.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
she's almost weary. She almost seems world weary. That,
Yes.
It's like this kind of attitude always reminds me of Fantastic 450 with Galactus, first appearance of Galactus, or one of those early ones where he said, you can step on an anthill and you don't care if the ant lives or dies, but you're not really aware that it's there. So what? Of
course,
I can't remember the exact words.
He's stating this as he's talking to the ant, which
right,
always like, okay, listen, dude.
Yeah, but it was Stan Lee.
That's true.
I don't know. I've talked to the fire ants a couple of times when I was like nuking their hill.
Oh yeah.
I can't use the language here that I talk to them with,
You
but I talk to them.
Not the fire ants.
Bill put together some of the films that she was in.
Yeah, I did not remember that she was in Horror Express, and that's a favorite of both Jerry and mine. That's a great one.
I was
and one of the few horror films, and I have no idea why, one of the few horror films my daughter, who walks through the living room like this, if I'm watching horror, will go, can we watch the train movie with the ice monkey?
How cool is that? The ice monkey. That's neat.
An early example of Who Goes There by John W. Campbell. Yeah.
Nightmare Castle is probably most famous for having Barbara Steele, but she's in that too.
Right.
I have not seen Vampire's Night Orgy. I like the title. Horror Rises from the Tomb. That's Nashi. Yeah, Nashi. And Criminal, it's one of those cool Euro crime kind of danger diabolic.
They call them crimmies.
Yeah,
is that kind of
he's got a cool skeleton costume, not as cool as the poster, but still pretty cool. I have no idea what the Blancheville monster's about, but so she's been in some cool stuff, and she's definitely got a look. So this gives me an excuse to crack out Horror Express one more time.
She's got 140 some credits.
Looking like that, I'm not surprised.
But I was thinking I think she's in more Nashi films than that, and I'm not, but maybe not. I might be thinking of the other woman. The Mummy's Revenge. That's Nashi, isn't it?
Sure sounds like Nashi.
I think so. Half of his stuff
No.
is 10 titles.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, he wrote it and he started it. Yeah. Yeah, and then also, I can't remember if it was one of these actresses was in just a bunch of these, and also some Just Franco movies.
Oh, sorry.
So they were just like, I should have wrote this down, but I didn't. Whichever one it was a single mother with a child, and they just, whatever was handed to them, they did because they needed the money.
Hey, yeah.
No, and they ended up being a go-to person for these the Spanish horror industry. Yeah, that's it.
There's worse things you can do to raise money than be in a whole bunch of movies that have surprisingly, I'm sure to the shock of everyone involved, lasted 50, 60 years later. We're still watching them and appreciating them probably more than they were at the time. I mean, I joke about Franco. Franco's not my cup of tea, but I greatly admire what he was able to do, which is make more movies than just about any random 10, 20 people you could pick put together.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got a card here for Sylvia Tortosa, who was the teacher. These all have her hair down, but she kind of starts out, at the beginning, she has her hair up. She's like the school marm kind of.
Right, right. I guess we're supposed to think, I wonder if she'll really be pretty when she lets her hair down. It's like, okay,
I don't know.
Yes,
Plus, it made her look so much older than all the other younger women that were
by a month. Yeah.
But she is also in Horror Express.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And I was trying to find a picture of the two of them together. She's the one that wears like a part of the time she wears a low cut blue gown with like a diamond necklace or something. Her hair's up. And the Helga Linné is the one who's wearing green, who ends up lying dead on the floor, if I remember right. I wish I could remember what their characters' names were, but actually it should be right here. She is so Sylvia Tortosa is Countess Irina Petrovsky, and I believe she's the one that was a single mother. Because she she never worked with the director. She didn't nobody ever gave her a hard time. She told him she was like plasticine, and the director needed to mold her, let her know what shape she needed to be. And then Helga Linné is Natasha in Horror Express. So yeah, both these women have a decent amount of horror cred.
And you got to say, De Ossorio knows how to shoot women in a way that really makes them look attractive. Of course, it helps that you cast really attractive women, but he also, makes sure they're photographed well. They look great. They don't look like they're actually wandering through the woods. They got 3-point lighting on them, but that's fine. You know what? That's where throw logic out the window. I do not want to see an actual horror movie set in the woods, lit like the actual woods, because I've been in the woods and I hit a lot of trees walking into them. I wouldn't be able to tell if they're good looking or bad looking.
So then we also have the hunter Sigurd. I don't know. There he is.
Look at
there
that.
He is with his white jacket, pants, and yeah.
Yep.
Walks in dressed like Steve Austin.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking to my good friend Hef.
Good point.
It's like Steve Austin when he's doing that, and then the other half of the time he's like Leonard Nimoy in Research of.
Yeah.
In Search of. He's
in Search of.
When he's got like the full suit and the jacket on, but walking around with the gun in the woods, none of it like works together.
Mm-hmm.
No. He just needs a couple of gold chains on top of the chest hair to complete the look. But hey, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah, he's got a big gun.
And us four guys are like focusing on his chest versus what's next to him. So
totally jealous. Look how gorgeous she looks. I mean, just like Dangity dang. She is just
I'm not jealous, Bill.
okay, Bigfoot.
I turn around and show you on my back too, but
Ah.
nobody will ever turn into the show again.
Or it could be our biggest show ever.
Oh, yeah.
I do edit some stuff out.
Check out his
Like you
OnlyFans page.
You
Try to
just put
turn into that Jaws scene. Let me show you my ass.
you just put the blurry photo of me up on the site. Tell everybody you got a Bigfoot.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a handsome.
So I just
devil.
want to say these
He's
two
got-
shots take place something like 15 seconds after each other. He meets. What's your name?
Oh,
Boom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's that.
Totally forgets about the teacher that is
Also, okay. So he knows he's looking for a Lorelei monster. It's like, so what's your name? Lorelei. Doesn't stop him. He doesn't even say, huh? Could it be? No, just moves on to the next thing. So,
Well, he's what's the Lorelei equivalent of bewitched? Is that he's
Entranced.
He's entranced. There we go. Well, you also looked up some stuff on him. So Tony Kendall.
Look at this. All right. So we got a Blind Dead movie. Cool. We've got Yeti, Giant of the 20th Century,
which looks awesome.
Looks awesome. In fact, it is not awesome. We've got
on Blu-ray.
The Three Fantastic Supermen, which is kind of like a mix of like Peplum and superhero and not very good. And we got Mario frickin' Bava. Booyah. I mean, okay. That runs the gamut right there. So working actor. What?
Look at the tagline there. Scream so they can hear you.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I am surprised when you pulled stuff together that wasn't specifically horror genre. You went with the super fantastic Superman, whatever thing.
Well, look at that poster. I mean, first of all, that's a great poster. I wish
like
the movie were as good
Simon
as
and Kirby. Yeah.
It absolutely looks like Simon and Kirby.
But
in fact, they may have traced it. Who knows?
But no, the reason why is he was the title character in Django Defies Sartana.
Ooh.
He played Django.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. He is not. Boy, that's not showing that. Nashi film, so I must be.
Man, I would go see that Yeti movie just based on that poster alone.
Oh, it's so crushingly disappointed.
So bad. It is so horribly bad.
Well, as you know, that's never stopped me before.
No.
And the poster looks great. The actual image of the Yeti, it's like he looks like a drugged up disco fro guy.
Yeah.
wearing
a fursuit. It looks horrible.
The fursuit's patchier than Jerry's chest hair. So I mean, it fails on every level, you know.
I'm not sure why, but I know we talked about this.
I would totally put that poster. I would totally put that poster on the wall, though. I like the woman in the front there. She doesn't really seem like terrified so much as mildly annoyed.
She's like, "Oh, there's a sale at Aldi's."
Yeah.
He was. Which one do you have in there? He was in The Whip and the Body.
Well, that's what.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's an alternate title.
What?
Oh, that's not a very good title. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
That plus Return of the Blind Dead, you have like a deaf connotation to what, and then you got to scream so the blind dead can hear you.
Yeah.
What? We can't see you. What?
They look like apes.
All right. Now it's going to drive me nuts because I know one of the people in this movie is in The Werewolf and the Yeti, or The Night of the Howling Beast, I think is the other title of that, and I'm not seeing it. So, oh well.
It's hard to keep them straight. Listen, you know, Nashi, there's a werewolf movie he made that no one's actually sure if it ever got made. It's like a lost film, or it never actually existed, and there seems to be disagreement on that. He says he made a movie between this one and this one, but no one's been able to find any evidence that it was ever like shown or seen. He made so many, lost track.
So
Ah,
I threw this on the
like it.
blind guy. That was before I put the 3 women in the
Good choice.
title. But he was kind of an interesting presence. He told the legend before they go to visit. Basically, their Van Helsing, the professor, played by Angel Menendez, who is much clumsier than Van Helsing because he manages to dump acid on his own face.
Yeah.
Francisco Nieto, and I swear, this is another one. I swear I know his name, or maybe it was something different. He's got 67 credits. He doesn't last too long. He lasts long enough to give out the legend,
Which is why they had to kill him. Just,
Blind exposition, man.
a little too loquacious for his own good.
Exactly right.
And you even know he's going to die because our hero is like literally telling Lorelei, "Oh yeah, there's this guy in town who was telling me all about it." Really? Okay. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, honey.
The blind guy with the
despite-
violin. Then I went and talked to the scientist. He's got all kinds of crazy ideas on how to kill Lorelei. Oh, I'm just chattering here.
I'm going to my car. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Despite what you may think from the beginning of the movie, it's not just women's hearts. It's anybody's heart. So after first we kill 2 or 3 women, then we go after a couple of guys. All right. And speaking of, there's the monster.
Yeah. There he is. Those teeth are pretty much everywhere. And
The hand. We see the hand a lot. I am fine with this. I don't think it's that terrible of a monster. Somebody.
No, it's a terrible monster, but they were smart in the way that they shot
They
it.
shot it. Okay.
They shot
okay.
it.
I mean, that's only 2 steps above the underground dino
Kolchak
from the last
monster.
Kolchak
Yeah.
monster. Yeah. But they actually used their brains shooting
Right.
this one.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Although the hand is a hell of a lot better than
Yeah.
the
I mean, I
Kolchak.
do like the way the teeth show up so well. Kind of gives it that attack the block vibe, but clearly, it's not a great costume. So he's wearing a hoodie. Why? Because
So this is about the Lorelei. I don't know, Jerry. Can you give us the shortened version of the
Here we
Lorelei
go.
legend?
I'll sit back here.
Shortened version, which to the best of my knowledge has absolutely nothing to do with being a lizard lady. It's basically just this lovely young lady throws herself into the Rhine because she's lost her lover. Not like he's died, but they've. And when she hurls herself into the river, the rock, the large cliff that she jumps off of, somehow retains some aspect of her. And so you hear this echo of her, and she becomes like a siren. She becomes like the mermaid type sirens. So she'll kind of lure you to your death and do you in. And in like the straight up early original versions or original version of specifically Lorelei, because depending on who you ask, it branches off into all these other things that inspired it. But in the earliest version that I know of, the one that's credited to Clemens, I got to look it up because I'm going to say it wrong. Clemens Brentano, from his ballad Zu Bacharach Rhein. I apologize to all of your German listeners. There's not a lot that I'm aware of where there's like the monstrous lizard lady and some of the other aspects of it. That seems like something that was mixed in when he started playing with the Norse. And he starts bringing in the Nebelong, and he starts bringing in like all these other aspects and just kind of wove his own little thing for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot in here. There's a little bit of vampire, a little bit of werewolf, a little bit of lizard.
Well, and there is a specific location on the Rhine called the Lorelei, where there's a big, huge kind of rock formation. The river kind of runs through a valley, and it was the legend. There was a lot of wrecks there, and the legend was there was this howling and wind blowing made these strange noises. That was a siren that lured them into the rocks, kind of thing. So
yeah, and if you ever look up the photo, which is worth looking up, when we're saying she threw herself off of a rock, we're not talking about she climbed up on the 20-foot rock sitting out of the water. This is like one of those photos you see from Greece or something, with like just the giant thing in the river. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that'll get the job done.
So I found these two. One was I think they were both in Wikipedia, and they don't really look like the same thing. But possibly I was thinking maybe from different perspectives.
It's pretty beautiful.
Anyway, yeah, scary stuff. So yeah, the Lorelei.
Although
we have,
they once again do like my favorite thing for dumb horror move 101. It's like, all right, we have something. It lives in the water. We can't breathe in the water. It kills people in the water. What are we going to do? Let's go out on the water and swim and see if we can find it.
Let me go underwater into the cave. Yeah.
That's okay. I got this easily removable mouthpiece that gives me air.
So if you watch this closely, the commentary talked about Tony Kendall was deathly afraid of water.
Oh.
So the person doing all the diving and stuff obviously was somebody else. And if you watch it, even when he's pulling out of the water into the boat, it cuts to a scene where he's already in the boat. You see him from the outside and they're lifting him up, and then boom, he's in the boat, and now you see his face. So anyway.
So wow, he's not even wet anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They said wonder why he took that job. He probably just figured they'd have doubles do everything. I'm not going to have to get wet.
Or listen, if you're an actor, you just say yes. Like, hey, can you ride a horse? Oh, since I've been 5, never seen a horse in your life.
So here's the gore. Here's the Lorelei creature reaching its hand through the
latex
into the chest cavity.
I mean, it's pretty gory,
Yeah,
it doesn't look real in any way, shape, or form. So
But I've never seen anybody's heart ripped out, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's not what it was.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff in between point A and point B.
You're right.
Yeah.
I hate that about movies where the creature tears hearts. This comes out completely, every artery severed, and it just holding the heart. I just can't stand that.
And neatly treated.
Yeah, neatly cut.
Yeah.
Surgical precision.
And all the blood drained already. Well, and then, so I didn't pull that one because I did find a picture of the ripping through their breast, the damaged breast that they pulled the heart out. But we'll stay away from that. This is the bottom one is where the thing is. He literally it's like he stuck in his thumb and pulled out a plug.
Right.
Yep. So hooks it with his claw and lifts the heart out.
And there's,
as you said,
Dr. Dumbass there.
Completely detached. Yeah, Dr. Dumbass who's fallen down and for some reason reaches up. He's got a loose Erlenmeyer flask of acid sitting on the edge of the counter ready to get grabbed.
Don't all mad scientists?
Oh, absolutely. You never know when you need acid. You should always put a little sticker on it. Do not throw in face.
Yeah. Do not knock over onto someone falling on the floor.
Very bad lab technique.
Hey, you guys have knocked that so many times. It's like, who has acid in their house? I have acid in my house.
I never said I didn't have acid in my house, but I mean normal people.
Except I keep it in the bathroom next to the toilet where you're supposed to use it. They sell acid for drains.
I think you just told on yourself, Jerry.
They sell kaopectate too, and I would recommend that as a first.
And you wanted us to look at your back.
I use acid to shave the hair off.
The sink.
It's like
hair gets in the sink.
Oh well.
Oh,
The
okay,
acid
okay.
gets rid of the sink.
Oh,
Or gets rid of
okay.
the hair.
Yeah, but I'm sure the wrong stuff would. Anyway.
Hmm.
All right. That's all the slides that we have. Anybody other comments here?
It's
one
fun.
of your little photo montages is possibly the best one that you've ever put up.
What's that?
The one that's got like the blind fiddler and the three girls on the bottom. Just
Yeah.
the fact that the screen cap you used is him saying, "I won't talk, I won't talk."
Yeah.
And the three of them all have that look on their face like, "Oh, yes, you will."
He talked.
That is so perfectly like
You'll talk and you'll like it.
I won't
Let's
talk.
wrestle him, girls.
Yeah, challenge accepted. Let's get him.
He is literally. I captioned the picture that I saved to him as the blind fiddler, or the quote, and he's actually, that's how he's billed in the thing, the blind violin player, I think, or violinist, blind violinist.
He looks like he's ready to go on tour with Journey or something.
Yeah.
I just love the
I was
craziness.
thinking he
of this
looked a little
movie.
bit like Jose Feliciano back in the day, or Danny Sugarman, or
I mean,
Well, he does have the neckerchief.
Yeah. Get back to the grotto here. It makes no sense. It's just when you think you figured this movie out, suddenly we get the underwater city or whatever, and it's like, why are they there? Why do they have little skulls holding their bikinis together? Who are they trying to impress? Who are they
that's
dressing
what
up
killed
for?
me.
Who's the guy? Who's the human, the familiar? What's his story? What?
I think you're right, Bill. I think they must have just had those left over from another movie.
Yeah, but they're perfect. Absolutely, that's
Like
exactly what they should look like.
What's the date on Night of the Sorcerer? Did they do it at about the same time?
Too, I think. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just okay. He still had costumes left over.
Right. Just
save money.
I approve.
Well,
Let's wrestle.
On the one hand, that's going to drive you nuts. On the other hand, it's one of those things that he does with a bunch of his movies. It's like you get stuff like, okay, going way back when we were talking the first Blind Dead film, the first guy who gets killed, or not first guy, the first girl that gets killed comes back in the morgue.
Yeah.
And kills the guy who's playing with his frog.
Explanation or reason.
But it's like, it's a completely unique kill in the entirety of the series. Her coming back that way and doing whatever doesn't make any sense.
No, Night of the Sorcerer 74. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, so this was first. Well, maybe he was prepping for Night of the Sorcerer.
Sure.
He was.
This
was the audition.
People said, you know, the best part of Lorelei were those girls.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, noted.
But
I gotta watch that tonight.
Well, can I point something else out? He throws the dynamite thing, his time bomb, throws it into the water. Let's get out of here. And I'm waiting for, okay, so let's, and then we just go on.
Cut something out.
Yeah.
And then, time goes on. The leaves fall off the trees. The newspapers go. And then it seems like a day or two later, we cut back. The thing finally goes off. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the bomb. I'd forgotten all about the bomb. And then, of course, that knocks everything down, and the grotto, the city, knocks the whole city out with a couple sticks of dynamite.
Yeah, it knocks the grotto down, which is under the water, but it doesn't flood.
See, if someone gave me that script and say, hey, go through this and fix anything that needs fixing, I'd be redlining all kinds of things. And that would be a mistake, because this is exactly what it needs to be. It's just fine.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. You get these weird things that he does, and he throws things in, and it's really interesting. And you're like, wow, that's really interesting. Where is that going to go? And he just kind of treats it as, yeah, that was really interesting. I don't have anything else for it.
Yep. Yeah.
We're just going to move on now. And this is really interesting too. Look at the shiny object.
I had an idea.
But it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Hey, everybody, look at his bomb.
Aesthetic. Yeah.
Okay, well, check it out if you like, and we will get to Night of the Seagulls in the not too distant future. I'll pick it if nobody else does sometime in the next 6 months or so.
Interestingly, going through and reading reviews and what other people think about it and everything, the reviews at the time were not terribly kind, but it actually has a pretty good little cult following.
Yeah.
So
I pulled some of those. There was a list of them somewhere, and they had, let's see, Robert Fershing from AllMovie said, except for an interesting undersea production design, some extreme and phony gore, and some uncommonly beautiful women, it's one of Amando de Ossorio's most unwatchable efforts, and every murder is preceded by an annoying flash of red screen. Well, he obviously
he saw the wrong version.
One. Bloody Pit of Horror gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Criticized the film's lead actor as being bland and uninteresting. Weak creature design and script. TV Guide gave it 2 out of 5. This odd blend of German legend and 70s Euro horror conventions is distinguished by the red flashes. They saw that one too. Well, then the good side, there's several of them that say 4 out of 5 stars, a masterful work of horror which has been shamefully overlooked both by the audience of its time as well as today's saw-hungry crowds.
Saw-hungry.
Well,
DVD Talk, let's see, says, it's an unusual love story with torn-out hearts.
So this is a perfect Valentine's Day movie.
Over the top, unintentionally side-splitting comedy from Dread Central. Okay.
I don't know if I'd say sides. Well, sides do get split, so okay.
The Diabolique magazine says, while the script's a total mess, we thought it was refreshing, and the writing, if you're expecting something atmospheric and doom-laden, think again. This blend of horror fantasy is a lot of fun with some nice scares and decent effects. The monsters' attacks are surprisingly fast-paced and vicious, and the gore, mostly torn flesh, rises above the film's meager budget. I'd go with that one. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem that it ran into, the first time I saw it, it wasn't like, oh, I want to go see a horror movie, or I rented something off the shelf. It was one of those, back in the days of cable, I was off, might have been a weekend, and I'm off work, and I got nothing else to do, and I'm putzing about the house, and I turn it on, and here's this thing, and I just started watching it, not knowing what it was. Just, oh, this is kind of interesting. Oh, something's happening. Oh, there's a monster. And, it's slowly playing out. And so by the time it's done, well, now I kind of know what it is. And especially with some of the titles and those posters, I think like a lot of people, when they first saw it, it's like they're going in expecting like a slasher, or they're going in expecting a gruesome monster killer thing. One of the, it's a little earlier than those, but similar to like the 60s versions of like Humanoids from the Deep and things like that. The monsters coming out of the water and dragging you under and slicing you up. And it's not any of that. It's one of his more quiet efforts, for lack of a better word. And unless you know that going in, you're all primed for, slasher horror when the screaming stops and blood and guts. And it's like, you're getting this just slow paced, quiet.
Yeah.
And the one, I think the one said it best. It's the love story with like hearts getting ripped out.
Yeah. They should put that on the poster. There's a tagline Chad would have been proud to read.
It's like that. All right. Well, let's move on to feedback. And I'm going to take the first one because I had to do a little bit of research on this, but I believe we have a fan, an Italian fan, or a fan in Italy, because he did 2 feedbacks. One's for, I think, 80s, and it was written in Italian. I had to run it through Google Translate. This one was not, but I had to adjust a little bit to make a little more sense. This is a comment for episode 158, Blood for Dracula. And Rosano Macchioni says, I think, bad cult movie. In this film, it has a great guest star, actor and director Vittorio De Sica. And I think we talked about him at the time. It's hard to remember that. But he played Il Marchese di Fiore in Blood for Dracula, the guy that was going to give one of his daughters to Dracula, the older gentleman. But he was a director of Shoeshine, 1946, Bicycle Thieves, 48, Two Women, 1960, The Garden of the Finzi Continis, 1970. And those, as I looked those up, they were all of them were like very highly rated.
Very,
in terms
very well regarded. Yeah.
of points for IMDb, like 7 or 8. And so anyway, something to check out. But he also had 164 acting credits and was nominated for an Oscar in 1958 for Best Supporting Actor in A Farewell to Arms. So appreciate the heads up, Rosanna Macchioni. I don't recall. I believe we talked about him some, but I don't think we said much more than, he was also a director,
That, by the way, is Chad's least favorite movie.
All right. Episode 176, Chad, Messiah of Evil from Sound of Silence.
Great album. Messiah of Evil. Wow, I just bought this movie. I bought 2 versions of the film, the original with Slumber Song, in which the mood is better, and the second one is good for clearer visuals. What a fun flick, a lot like Carnival of Souls with Night of the Living Dead. It's a fascinating movie. I love the version with a commentary. I didn't know this movie existed. I love the theater scene. Watching it looks like it was more gruesome. Great flick gas station.
I have no idea what that means. I think maybe this was a voice recognition thing,
Okay.
and so some of it doesn't make entire sense. I tried to guess at some of it.
Good name for an album, though. Great flick gas station.
Yeah. By Messiah of Evil. I would love seeing it in the theater. How did I miss it? I was 10.
Well, that's how you missed it.
I did see Legends of Hell House same year. Another one. Great Living Dead film that I like better than George Romero's is Bob Clark's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things from 1972, a year earlier. That film is so creative, it scared the pants off me. Love you guys. Love you too.
Yeah.
Silence. Thank you.
Appreciate it. That's a good comparison. Carnival of Souls with Night of the Living Dead. All right. Episode 232, Eyes of Laura Mars. Let's see. Jerry, can you take Robert Baker's?
Episode 232, Eyes of Laura Mars from Robert Baker. When I saw you guys were going to cover this, I finally hunted it down to watch it. Seems like I remember seeing commercials for this on TV back in the day, so the title stuck with me. Most definitely did I consider this an American giallo, right along with Dress to Kill and Night School. And I know John Carpenter was influenced by a lot of European film techniques in making Halloween, so it's not surprising he would write something like this. I, too, would like to see his original story. I like the movie and just wanted to say I don't think I have ever seen Tommy Lee Jones look so young.
Or be so young.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that. And for episode 233, Black Noon, I don't know what this means, but emulous. Bill?
Emulous cryptically says, "Damn, did I write that? I'm getting creative with my angry descriptions." I think this is Emulous commenting on a previous comment by Emulous.
It is. And I think it was the one about Leave It to Beaver, something about.
Oh.
He's also made a couple of other ones that left us in a quandary about. So he's commenting on his.
Or maybe it was the one. What was the one where the sympathy for the devil was in the song, and then he changed it over to something else later? Death Ship. I don't remember. I don't know which one it was. So who knows?
Doing a lot of puns and stuff. So
Bill, you want to? That was pretty short. So Bill, you want to take
Robert Baker says of Black Noon, the first time I ever heard of this movie was in the "It Came from Bowen's Basement" articles in Rue Morgue magazine years ago. It sounded interesting, but at the time there was no way to see it. Later on, I found it on YouTube, but the quality was less than stellar. When I saw you were going to cover it, I jumped back on and found a much better print. I do like the movie for what it is, but is this ever a product of its time? I was glad to revisit it and glad you covered it, and I do miss that we don't have movies like this on TV anymore. I can't recall, but have you ever covered the Norless tapes? No, not yet. A Dan Curtis made for TV that is very similar to the Kolchak stuff, and it is available on several good prints, I see. I'm sure we will get to Norless.
I'm pretty sure Jerry's brought that up more than once.
I think he has. We may have to invite him on when we do it.
Well, I was just letting you know where it was streaming.
All right. Scars of Dracula, 234. Chad.
Berliner 0 says, love these movies. Patrick Troughton, or it could be Troughton, was the second
Troughton.
doctor. Troughton, okay.
He was the second doctor. We had a hard time figuring that out at the time. So, Jerry, you want to take Phil Smoot for Scars of Dracula? Which
Phil
just went
Smoot.
live today, actually. So,
Phil Smoot says, while filming Dracula at the end of 1930, Bela Lugosi turned 48. While filming Scars of Dracula in mid-70s, Christopher Lee turned 48. In Scars of Dracula, Lee's Fifth Hammer Dracula film, they put as much white pasty makeup on Lee as Universal did on Bela in early 1948 filmed Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, shot when Bela was 65.
Boy.
okay.
He did have
I call shenanigans on that. How do you measure the amount of pasty makeup you put on someone?
Well, it's you know.
All right. All right.
How
it's
much?
pretty pasty.
Like you could literally see it caking off of his face.
Yeah.
Also, Scars of Dracula, Perfect Mask 1. Bill?
Perfect Mask 1 says, I always love it when the crew cover a Hammer film. Gives me an excuse to watch them yet again. I enjoy this film. It's not the best, but still entertaining. Who doesn't enjoy a bit of sadism, blood, and unpleasantness in their horror? Good-looking sets, great performance by Christopher Lee, and we all love Michael Ripper, don't we? Keep up the good work, guys. Hopefully more Hammer to come this year. Thank you, sir.
We do love Michael Ripper. We do love Michael Ripper. So, as you can tell, we love feedback. So please send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or even better yet, just make comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube page, or you can check out the Facebook group, Gruesome Magazine and Horror News Radio podcast Facebook group, and Decades of Horrors in there somewhere too. I don't know. Anyway. Look for us. Okay. Every 2 weeks, we do a new episode. Our next episode is one chosen by Chad. What did you pick, Chad?
I picked The Antichrist. Not the Lars von Trier movie, but the 1974 version
Oh, God.
with Mel Ferrara.
Sorry, Jerry. Not this time.
Yeah, like I was thinking. On the plus side, it's an Italian film directed by Alberto Di Martino and stars Arthur Kennedy and Mel Ferrara with music by Ennio Morricone.
That sounds
But on
great.
the minus side, we're all going to hell.
Yep.
Well, we knew that when we all signed on.
This is going to be one of those aforementioned. I'm going to wait till my wife's taking a nap or out on the town with the girls before I watch it.
And I
There is
believe
no hell.
that's on the Classic Horror Movie Channel right now, I think, Chad, right?
Yeah.
So one of our Play Now Media friends' channels that the Classic era is on. All right. Well, I think we are done with this episode.
Uh-oh.
You know what I forgot?
How to
You
do
know
a
what?
German accent?
No, I forgot. And that's been Taglines with
Oh,
Chad.
that's right.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
That's just pretentious and self-indulgent right there.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, and Crystal, that reminds me, you have to do me a favor because you all didn't do it enough when she said this. She didn't know who Chelsea Quinn Yarborough was and didn't know the Saint Germain vampire novels.
We
Oh,
hit her
yeah.
pretty hard with that, and she was going to look them up and that kind of stuff. Well, different
she'd like-
ages, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Look, there's only so much time, but I think she would enjoy those.
She needs to get through at least two or three of them before September, because Derek may disown her. Because you know who a long time regular DragonCon guest has been.
Chelsea Quinn
Yarborough. And Derek loves the Saint Germain novels.
There you go.
But hates the
And there's,
Princess
I think I
Muted
said there was
yourself, Bill.
I think I said there was like 15 of them. Well, actually, there's more like 25. All right. Well, appreciate you guys filling in Jerry, especially for Doc. And it's strange how this worked out because I picked Loreley's grasp and then found out Doc wasn't going to be here and went, hey, wait, maybe Jerry can do it.
Yep.
So
Cool having you here, man.
And happy
great
birthday,
seeing
Doc.
you, man.
And
good
happy
time.
birthday, Doc.
Yeah, I hope he's enjoying the cruise and not falling off ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
He'll be back safe and sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. It was good seeing all of you and good chatting with you.
Yeah. Same here, man.
I'll supposedly see Bill in another month and a half or so.
That's right, RavenCon.
Yeah.
Yes.
All righty.
RavenCon in Richmond, Virginia.
Yes. So you
Cool.
all should, if you're around that, check it out.
You have the
Good-
dates
good
memorized?
Oh, Michael.
This will actually come out soon enough that somebody can make.
Hold on. I can check my.
Oh no, I can pull it up right here. Yeah, it's like Michael will probably slap the crap out of me for not. RavenCon 18, April 25th through 27th, 2025, obviously. And it is in Richmond, Virginia at the lovely Virginia Crossings Hotel, which is in Glen Allen, Virginia.
Excellent.
And you have to look up Virginia Crossings Hotel.
It's a trip.
Because it doesn't look like a hotel. A bunch of years I have to work the shuttle. I'm kind of a utility volunteer, do all sorts of things. And I will go pick people up occasionally from the airport, bring them in, or take them out. And I guarantee you 50% or more of the people, as they're being brought up to the hotel, are like, we're here. Where's the hotel? This is it. This is a college campus.
Yeah.
Because it's three separate buildings. They're connected by an underground tunnel.
Underground tunnel
gotcha.
is the key word. And
But
you go through these underground tunnels and you may indeed run across a bunch of women wearing bikinis with skulls attached.
Giggling.
Giggling like crazy because there's room parties. It's a good time.
And Doc would appreciate it more, but creeping through the underground tunnels, because it's very safe for makeup versus the keyed outside, you can typically find one of our regular special guests of honor skulking around in the shadows in the tunnels, Count Gore Duvall.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
And also Dr. Sarcophagi.
John is not making it this year.
Oh no, that's disappointing.
Well, he's trying to get some stuff.
Yeah,
he's trying to set some stuff up. Dr. Sarcophagi is going to be slowly going away because John is to the point where he's done that and he wants all of his creative endeavors to be John Dimes.
Okay, understandable.
Plus, if you look on my Facebook page, and then you can share it. There was just a review from like one of the Monster Magazine websites. He's playing, of all things, a priest in an upcoming horror film called like Exorcism for Rent or something. It's kind of like it's a weird spoof. It's a weird spoof horror film. Kind of like a fake documentary.
Okay.
All right.
In the style of Spinal Tap was the tagline that I saw on it.
Well, if you ever get a chance to go, if you're ever at a convention, John Dimes is on a panel or something, check it out. He's a great guy, great sense of humor. A lot of fun.
I just became friends with him on Facebook.
All right.
John is a wonderful human being. I love him.
Awesome guy.
Him and his husband both are just wonderful people.
Hey, better tell him we're talking nice things about him. He'll watch this episode and get a swelled head.
For Sale by Exorcist trailer at Dread Central. Newfound footage horror comedy from Melissa LaMartina and filmed largely in the Baltimore area.
For Sale by Exorcist. All right. Guys, time to hang it up.
Yep.
Say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Gruesome Magazine.